It is once again time for another Caliburst, and we got straight up, we got 10 matches to talk about today.
10 whole
10
matches. This is
matches. It's so many. I almost left one out on accident. Actually, when I was editing the trailer, I had to go back and be like, "Oh shit, I forgot." But we in there. We got 10 matches. So let's run through this real quick. I took the liberty of looking up some of the results to give us some context. So let's start with Learn
okay.
versus Espada real quick, right? Both of
Mhm,
you, both of them are Sacktown homies, right? So I
mhm.
feel like you're probably gonna know how this goes better than I will. I looked up the results and I saw that it was like I think 12-4 in Learn's favor. But the thing is that most of those 12 came from tournaments before I think Espada was actively playing Guilty Gear, right? It was
Yeah.
in like a lot of tag-ins, a lot of like NorCal dogfights or stuff like that before I remember seeing Espada playing much.
Mhm.
And Espada specifically has won the last two. So this is definitely an interesting one for me to watch.
Yeah, so Spada and Learn recently played each other at the last ETF, I think. And it was pretty close. Both of these guys go, way back, right? Tagging's been going on for years now. And Espada really, I feel like he didn't find his groove until he stuck with May.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen a Raven,
Oh
there
wow.
was a Leo, there was all these other things, and Learn also went through kind of a character. I wouldn't call it a crisis per se, but like a character reshaping. Right? It was
Yeah, because
Kai
he,
for the
he
longest
switched over
time.
from Kai to Soul, right?
Correct. Yeah. So these two guys obviously really good friends. Sacramento, like I think you could call them Sacramento's up and comers, right? Like
Sure.
they've been grinding. They're both like they grind so much, right? Espada's probably playing Rev 2 right now. I know Learn's been grinding with the Beppis homies, so this one's gonna be interesting. This one's also gonna be wild, right?
Yeah.
Because once I feel like when you get off of Kai, you feel unleashed, right, as a person. And who's more unleashed than the man who activates Dragon Install? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this, he just lets it out, and then you gotta go at it. And I think the interesting thing about this is, in their friend group, I think there's definitely more May practice, because they're both friends of Sakabato. Sakabato
Hmm.
also a beginner bracket alum, plays May.
The Sakabato
Not
moved
so
down
many
to
souls.
SoCal, right?
Yeah, Sakabato moved down to SoCal. So not for a spot, it's going to be interesting, right? It's not
Yeah.
not as many souls. I feel like Soul Bad Guy was very represented early on, right? Aetherbeat played
Hmm.
Soul. I think Milk played Soul. I saw Sig Soul. Not that many souls anymore, right? Like you're
Yeah.
playing TT or you're playing like Wabbit.
Wabbit. Yeah.
If you could get either of those guys on the line, right? Or you gotta call in a liner for Pepsi, right? So
Yep.
it's gonna be interesting to see how Spada really prepares for this one.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the interesting things about the set to me as well is like obviously we have a long history with between these two, but what's really
mhm.
interesting is like in the last couple months Learn hooked up with the Beppis Max crew and he's been
Mhm.
practicing with them. Espada's been active in Irene's beginner Discord,
Right?
right?
Yep.
And that I thought that was pretty big for helping him get the momentum to make it
Yeah.
out of beginner bracket, right?
Yeah.
So both of these two are kind of like it's like when you see the upgraded Gundams squaring off for the first time, like this shit's gonna be cool as fuck.
Yeah. This is gonna be interesting. It's definitely like two people who I think they know each other very well, but I'm hoping they pull out a little something different for each other.
Yep. All right. Next up, we got Sturbin, aka Kemonobara, versus One Bin.
Mhm.
This one was it was cracking me up to run highlights for because they both run the same Sin color, right? They,
Yeah.
they both do the green and black. We hadn't seen that much from the Sturbin, at least I hadn't until like a couple months ago when we started seeing Kemonobara show up in Wednesday
Right.
night fights brackets, right? And I feel like he's kind of learned at a pretty impressive clip, right?
Yeah. So the funny thing is Sturb. I remember Sturb was like the Sin player like early on. Like
Uh,
I've seen Sturb a couple times like at Dogfight
okay.
W and F. This was like before like you and I even knew each other,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like so this was a while ago. Actually, if you watch the the Rebel Conquest Oakland, like there's a clip of Pepsi like being mad they lost to Pericles. I think Sturb is actually the person sitting next to Pepsi. So it's like Sturb's been playing for a little bit, but kind of fell off a little bit. And funnily enough, we were, when we were talking about just like NorCal as a region, we were like, oh man, we really need these characters, right?
Yep.
And there wasn't a Sin player. There really wasn't. Like Sturb disappeared, and then one bid, you know,
filled the
one of
void.
my homies for exactly. And speaking of voids, right? Came from Undernight, picked up Sin, and was like, you know what? Yeah, I like this character, right? And One Bin's just crazy thing about One Bin, right? Is One Bin is our first beginner bracket online graduate, right? In person, he was like maybe 2 or 3 events, like got close a couple times, but he was the first one to like just go over the edge once we got locked down, right? So like Anthony was joking about this the other night, but he's like, I haven't been like, as good as I am right now in person. Like I've never been this good in person, right?
Yeah.
That's really the story. And this one's interesting too, right? Because 2 things. Number one, One Bin played Ghost Deer, won the mirror match, right? So he knows the Sin matchup. And 2, I played both of them. It's a very different styles, right?
Ooh.
I like to always compare One Bin to like the Kizzy K style, right? A little bit more patient. Focus more on making sure your calories are high enough for the next kill, right? Sturban definitely a little bit more aggressive. Gets the knockdown right, far beak driver, multi pokes, hops in immediately, right? Doesn't really think about the meters that much. So it's going to be interesting to see just this clash of styles kind of go at each other. This is gonna be a cool one, right? It's a mirror match. So
honestly, when I saw that they were lined up for a match, because I didn't know anything about Sturban's background, I just thought, oh, are they gonna play for the color? Is that what's going on? So it looks like they both switched. But as far as I'm concerned, if they want to play for the color, that just makes things a little bit more interesting.
Right, exactly. This should be for the color, right?
Yep. All right. After that, we got Starsky versus Blinkety. This one is near and dear to my heart because for a couple of reasons. One, they both started kind of getting into Guilty Gear and playing serious at around the same time. I remember Starsky would bring him along to Evo every now and then, and he'd like I forget. I think the first time he entered would have been about maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I remember seeing him win his first losers bracket match with like 6 chip overheads, like the overhead kick for out of Rekka, and like the other dude just didn't know what to fucking do. And I was sitting here like, oh my god, I guess we need to teach you how to play this fucking game. And the 2 of them, so Blinkety has come up with I'd say admirable consistency. He's been playing Kai the entire time. Both of these 2 actually worked together or worked at the same company for a little while. And so it's been fun to watch them cross paths, and they cross paths multiple times in their way to graduating from beginner bracket, right?
Yeah.
I believe when I looked up the tournament records, unfortunately, I don't have the old beginner bracket results because I think they were in a different Smash GG listing. I don't know if they show up in Starsky's match history tool, but I have it at 1-2 in Blinkety's favor in terms of tournament results. And this one's going to be interesting for a couple of reasons. Obviously, they know each other really well. And there's like, I know that neither of them wants to lose this fight. Like, they're both really nice, and they're really they're perfectly civil to each other, but neither of them want to lose this, right? Like, there is a certain amount of pride at stake here that just comes from having that like personal like history with each other. And the matchup is interesting too, because this is one that both sides of the matchup will often complain about, right? Whenever I play CT, he'll often like tweet afterwards about how Chip forces him to play outside Kai's comfort zone. Ripcord, thanks for the sub, homie. Basically, like as far as I can tell, the way it looks like is Kai is used to having the full screen range be good for Kai, right? Because if you're full screen away from Kai, that means he can set up Grinder. That means he can put out some big projectiles. He can start carving out that space, and he doesn't need to worry about you. And against other characters, Kai usually has a range advantage, unless you're talking maybe like Axel or something, right? Or Venom. But with Chip, all the stuff that Kai likes to do and do pretty safely, stuff like the jump back stun edge or charge stun edge or setting up grinder, all of that stuff can be pretty easily teleported on, alpha bladed on. Chip can use the space to use shuriken to get rid of the slow shuriken, so he can get himself a free entrance with fast shuriken. He can do find me, right? He can do all these things, and so they're both characters are really playing the game at an interactive range no matter where you are, because Chip is always one teleport away, right? However,
like,
go ahead.
Oh yeah, like the thing everybody hates about Kai is he never has to commit, right? Low commitment options, high reward, right? Versus Chip's enough. It's not the same, right? Like your commitments are real commitments because he has a teleport. Like the fear of the teleport changes everything, right? That's why Venoms hate the matchup. That's why any character that has to set up anything as their win condition just hates Chips enough, right?
Absolutely.
So that's the thing. And the funny thing is like I think it kind of leads into a player matchup, right?
Yep.
Because I think these two guys are like very much like they don't like people in their space. Like I know Starsky Starsky plays Chip like he's like, I don't want to be here right now. It's like, get out of my face. It's like, you came to me, man. You came to
Yeah. And the funny thing to me about this is that as people who play their characters, like both of them have kind of I will describe them as idiosyncrasies, right? Like Blinkety does a lot of wake up DP. He does a lot of blitz. He's not trying to hold that pressure, right?
Right.
He is, and this is known. Like anyone who knows him knows that the moment he's on the back foot, he ain't looking at the screen no more, right?
Yeah.
And Starsky,
he's looking for a way out.
Yeah. He might not even be looking, right? He's just doing. And Starsky knows this. But historically, he's kind of actually had a hard time playing against the Wild Boys, right? Especially with Chip, like you need to be, you need to be careful with the Wild Boys. He's got the tools to outplay them, but they're not the tools that Chip players are used to using a lot.
Right.
And the other thing is, like, I like to joke that actually, like, Blinkety was asking me for some matchup practice, and I played with him a little bit, but I warned him that Starsky doesn't do anything I tell him to do. Right?
Yeah.
Starsky does not play Chip like me. He has his own Chip. He's figuring him out. He'll take inspiration from everywhere he can find it, but he's playing decidedly his own character. And I don't think there are many characters or many people who play Chip the way Starsky does, right? So even if Blinkety gets ready for the tools, there is getting ready for the character, and then there's getting ready for the man. And it's very hard to get ready for Starsky.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Starsky does not play like how you expect Chips to play. I feel like the key takeaway for Starsky is he plays in a way that kind of is a weird pace for a lot of people. Like it's a pace you don't expect, right?
Yep.
And I think that's going to be the key. Is like this is very much that you're playing the player, you're not playing the character situation. And I think that's really ultimately what we expect out of a rival card, right? Like these are the people you train with that you're like, if I ever see them in bracket, people are going to look at us and like,
on
was
site.
That right? Like
on site.
On site. Hands on site.
And one more note on this, then we'll move on to the next one.
I'm not going to play 10 frames.
This is going to be some anime cliched shit, right? But there's nothing like a fight to test not only your command of the game under pressure, but your reason for playing. Right?
Yeah.
What motivates you to get good at this game, right? Because everyone can look at being the best and think, oh yeah, I want to be the best. But in order to get there, you need to find other things to play for, right? With Blinkety, like I know that he is a Sin player at heart. Actually, he started out with Sin and has been grinding Kai because he thinks that Kai will give him better fundamentals and a better grasp of the game overall, right? And so with Blinkety, this entire time he's been playing without like that love for the character that that I think you really need in order to be to motivate yourself just to do better and better and better, right? It's so much easier to play this game when you love the character you're playing with, right? And with Starsky, he's look, Starsky has single-handedly built half of the things that we use to run Caliburst and Wednesday night fights, right? He is omni-talented. He built the hitbox that I compete with, right? He built the tools that we use to run tournaments in a lot of cases, or run them better, right? He did the fucking stream layout for Wednesday night fights. This man is capable of doing so many things really well.
Bot, can't forget the betting bot.
Yeah, can't forget Blazing Bets. But like, Guilty Gear is one of those things that rewards consistency and discipline over time, right? And historically, Starsky hasn't had that. He's he's devoted to this community. He loves it, right? He's done so much for it. But as a player, you play this game for yourself, right? And Starsky's definitely had a hard time finding that motivation to grow his chip to the point where it excels, right? Where watching his chip is beautiful. Right. So I'm super stoked to see what happens in this match. The next one is also super interesting. Obviously, we got Denim versus Mapachito, battle of the last kids picked. Look, these two would roll up to Wednesday night fights together. Like, I guess maybe they were the original carpool, right? And we always saw these two roll up to Wednesday night fights and go 0-1. You couldn't even go 0-2 because we weren't running double elim, right, in person. But they go 0-1, and in like Mapachito would enter Tekken, and I think I played Denim in Sam's show once or twice. But like they were there, they were playing gear. The moment they got knocked out, that salt around for a little bit and then get right back up and start playing casuals. Right? These two have been grinding for a while, and they've been playing against each other for a while.
Yeah. So Aether B versus Sheridan first is number one. It's a rematch of a beginner bracket. That's number one. Yep. I also believe Sheridan or Aether can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Aether B's birthday that day. It was his 21st birthday.
Oh wow!
And Sheridan said, for every pop buster, for every society, you're gonna get a shot. So I believe what he said, like there were 4. I think I saw the chat earlier. There were 4 shots. Yeah. So
the shot buster.
The shot buster, basically, yeah. But that was So that was that was a great one. I mean, these two definitely like see them together all the time, right? These grinding multiple games, right? Like this is the part of the card. Like these people are basically family, right? We got the actual family and we got the basically family right here, right? And with this is always going to come down to the player matchup, right? Because the character matchup's not very interesting, right? It's like, oh, look at me, I got a parry. Oh, cool, I got command grub. Oh, it's like one person throws out rock and the other person waited 5 seconds later is like paper. Got you. But the player matchup, right? Yeah, this is the people who this is who you want to be better than, and who you want to see be good also, because he's like, I think these are like I'm not satisfied if I beat you because I'm way better than you, right? I want you to be better so then I can overcome that, right? And this one's gonna be this one's gonna be crazy because Aether B is the only Viking who ever blitzed, according to Church. Can't even he knuckle this guy, right?
Yep. And so the thing, this is I think this is true for both Denim and Mapachito as well as Aether Beat and Cheradine, is like character matchups only take you so far, right? Character matchups are the stage, they're the context in which you're playing in. But when you play someone this well, there's 2 things going on. One, both of you know each other's shit, right?
Yeah.
If maybe they'll bust out some surprises, but for the most part, what you're getting into, right?
Yeah.
And it's you don't just know the character, you know how they play the character. So at that point, you're not really thinking about matchups that much because the person is so much, right?
Right.
But the other thing is, when you're playing with a homie, you don't want to lose to them in tournament, right? And you'll take that seriously. But it's easier. It is often easier to swallow those L's, right? You'll get razzed about on the way back, but that when you're playing with your friends, it's usually going to be like a coin flip, right?
Right.
Very rarely do you get a chance to play the homie on a stage like this, right? Yeah. And so we may see parts of the rivals come out under pressure that no one has ever seen before. Right. I'm super hyped for that. Next up, we got Senior Children versus QG.
Senior Children.
So this one, I selfishly admit I made this one myself, right? QG, aka Wansang, has not been as active. He started getting back into it recently, but basically COVID kind of knocked the wind out of his sails when it comes to fighting games. Dude very much loves being being a part of the action in person. When you take that away, it's a lot harder for him to get motivated, right? Meanwhile, Senior Children has actually been on kind of a tear, right? Like when he first showed up and was started playing games, started entering the Wednesday night fights and stuff, I was like, oh shit, like he keeps coming. He keeps on trying a bunch of bike and shit. Like sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not, but the consistency was there, right? I'd see him at Taggin, I'd see him at Wednesday night fights, I'd see him at Caliburst or NorCal Dogfight or whatever, right? And at first, so the reason we made this match is actually because there was a string of about I think a month and a half, right?
Yes.
Where they found each other in bracket within like the first 2 games almost every time. They played 4 sets. And I think Wansang won all of them, right?
I believe so, yeah. So it started with beginner bracket.
Yep.
Eugene beat Jeremy. And then WNFs just randomly, right?
And I think Combat for a Cause as well.
Combat, yeah, exactly. That was the one that made me laugh because it was like, really? Like, again?
And the thing that cracks me up about this one, I won't even say cracks me up. The reason I'm looking forward to this is because on one hand, like Senior Children has been on a tear, right? He's been doing great work. He's been doing great work in Caliburst. He just recently graduated from intermediate bracket, right? I can pull up all kinds of highlight clips of him giving me the business in Wednesday night fights. Like he has come a really long way in the last couple months, right? He's just been grinding during COVID, and he's been doing a shit ton of work, and it's been super cool to see. Wansang has not, right? He hasn't been playing the game as much. However, in any other circumstance, I might look at this matchup and be like, oh, this is going to be a blow up. But fact is, Wansang used to play Biken. Biken was the character that actually he started playing when he started playing Guilty Gear, right? And Wansang's background is in Third Strike. So a lot of the Biken mind games that Guilty Gear players aren't used to is actually exactly the game that Wansang wants to be playing.
Right, exactly. This was the thing I brought up with Trice, right? Third Strike fundamentals of knowing when to parry. You don't just parry yourself to death, right?
Yeah.
A lot of new Vikings parry themselves to death because once you, if you play a character with a command grab or like somebody who knows, I just gotta throw them, right? They'll just do that. But then the better Vikings will add that extra layer. It's like, am I gonna go for it this time or am I gonna not, right?
Yeah.
And you could tell he knew that, right? Yeah. He did pull out Biken also in that beginner bracket. Which is hilarious too, actually. Johnson credited Jeremy for him being able to beat Eugene's Biken because they had actually played a tag-in and Jeremy disrespected him with parry every single time. So he was just ready for it. So that I think that actually was one of the things that went a long way, right? Is that Eugene had a Biken fundamental, and with a Third Strike fundamental background.
Yep.
It really gives you the idea of you're used to predicting parries, right?
Absolutely.
You're used to reacting to them. It's not going to catch you off guard most times, and that's what I think really got him. And he's also a Ken player, so having a character with DP with a degenerate fire DP, it's come on, man.
I mean, look, the thing about Wansang is I used to play him in Street Fighter a lot. We play a lot of Street Fighter 4 and we play a lot of Street Fighter 5. And I can tell you that I was persistently frustrated by him because he did not play the adaptation game the way that people should play the adaptation game, right? And so every single time I play him, I'd be like, man, it was the classic, if you were better, you would have gotten hit by that, right? He refuses to be trained. He's incredibly stubborn, right?
Yeah.
And where I see Senior Children excelling is usually in his ability to play the kind of to play the game with just the right amount of Wild Boy stuff. He'll go in. He's aggressive. He's got some Wild Boy stuff, but he's really playing through the rotations really well. And I'm really excited to see how that match works out.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yep.
funny because like what you describe is very much the opposites, right? Because like Eugene refuses to adapt. Every time I play Jeremy in person, he goes, "Okay, okay, okay, I got it. I know what to do now."
Yep.
And he does, he does change it, right? And
Yep.
that's going to be the interesting part. So
Yep.
this one, I think this is the one out of all of them where it's like I'm sick and tired of you beating my ass, right? Like it's like I wanted this.
I mean, look, Senior Children, like I said, he's been doing amazing things, and he just made it out of intermediate bracket. I'm excited to
Yep.
see who he'll take on
He's-
in future Exerd show matches. But look, when you make it out of intermediate bracket and you still have a 0-4 record against someone, like you want to get that opportunity to run it back. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
All right, next one.
Sure.
Speaking of spiteful runbacks, we got
Yeah, no,
another
this is a
team kill
great
here from the
Yeah.
the 3 imposters remaining. We got Kevitog versus TomTom. TomTom is 4-1 over Kevitog.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this
So,
is an interesting one to me because like both of them I would describe them as cerebral players, right?
yes.
Kevitog, obviously he puts a lot of thought into his work. When we had him come up for his first Caliburst set, it was against Aetherbeat, and he prepared for it by making a promo / anti-Biken tutorial, right? Like the dude clearly thinks, he's clearly doing his research, right? And I've seen him get better and better just playing me in lobbies and then bringing a lot of that heat into tournament bracket, right? Like he's methodical in his play. TomTom, meanwhile, is one of the beginner bracket's like biggest success stories, right?
Yeah.
He ran his way through beginner bracket. I think it was his like second or third beginner bracket. He was one of our first graduates.
He was, so he it was him and Orwe, which I believe those two are homies.
Mm-hmm.
Hello Mello was a top 3.
Yep.
TomTom the first and only person I believe we on record where we had to get him out of there because top 3s, right? For intermediate at least. So like TomTom is just like a train, right? Like when you think of Leo, you think of this is why people hate Leo, right? Like they're just like, okay, well I guess wrong one time, guess I'll die.
Yep.
Right. And like we can't underplay how much Kev, like, he is a student. Like I don't know if he still is a student, but the way he approaches this, he's a student.
Yeah.
Right? Watches everything.
I'm pretty sure he's a working man now.
I'm pretty sure he's a working man too.
Yeah.
But like I know, but he is a student of the game, right?
Yeah.
Like he very much like you could tell, like, when we, like, I commentate with that guy a lot, right? Like I can tell he definitely is like watching, he's listening, he's like observing, like he loves watching his own matches, figuring out what should have gone which way, right? And this matchup is also the closest we're gonna get to being in the Midwest right now in the middle of the pandemic, because we got the Midwest's favorite gorillas, right? We got May and we got Leo. We got 2 of the smarter players playing 2 of the dumber characters, I think people would say, right? Like, just this one's gonna be interesting. I think the first time when I saw Kev pull it over TomTom, I could tell like he put in a lot of thought into that one.
Yep.
But TomTom adapted, so we'll see, right? This
is
the difference.
The thing about preparation is when we run open brackets, it can be hard to justify taking the time to like study a matchup, right? Like
exactly.
If I get bodied by, say, GC Yoshi, right? Well, I can sit down, I can prepare for next time, but he might not enter next time. Or even if he does, I might not make it to him, right? I might get pieced out by Cam or CT or someone else, right? Pepsi. Right? When you have a show match on deck, there's who you're going to play. There's no reason not to do the homework, right? And so the fact that we get to see both of these two bring what I hope to be their A game is, I'm excited, right? Because we've seen them do well in tournaments, but I want to see them fucking crush it in this heads up set. So I'm super excited for this one. Next one, I mean, I could go on for an hour about about Emoto versus Uppercat. But fact is, they've never played in tournament. They will grind set after set with each other. they've been grinding set after set with each other as a way to prepare. Like they are, it's funny because like they always want to be playing with each other. And so when we set this matchup, one of the things it did was it kind of let them feel okay about just always playing each other all the time, which I think is fucking fantastic, right?
Yeah.
And they'll watch Teresa versus Daru.
Versus Daru over. Yeah, I was actually watching that earlier today.
And it's I swear to God, it's like watching the same damn thing, right? Like that matchup is a scrap. Both these characters are just fighting. They're fighting for unchallenged command over the match, right? There's no neutral. There is no hesitation. These two are going in, right? And like Uppercat said in the trailer, like because they've never competed against each other, like this is actually a really good chance to see what they look like when they are unleashed. I like that.
Yeah, so this is the matchup where like it's all player, right? Because in my mind, character match is 5-5 because it literally is who knocks down the other one. Okay, cool, next game, right? Like you get knocked down by Jam, good luck. You get knocked down by good luck, right? But this one is the one where it's like, this is there is no neutral, right?
Yeah,
it's just we're smacking at each other, and this is. Like, I think this is one of the matchups that like this is why we wanted a card that's just rivals, right? This is what we're talking about, right? This is two people. They're basically family, right?
Yeah.
Like they are the reason the other one like pushes each other, right? Like we were like we saw them both start as beginners, push each other to like get out of that bracket.
Yep.
And then push forward, right? I mean, like they're the reasons why people watch our beginner brackets and like, word, what's a beginner? Like, what is your definition of the word beginner? And we'll be like, I swear to you, right? Like, I swear to you, we're not just throwing in like people in here, right? And it's great to see them come so far, right? Like, I love when we are able to showcase them against like as teammates, right? Like Team 7. I love when we're able to just like showcase them in general, but like, this is the reason they fight, right? Like, this is and like I can't say anything about this matchup that they didn't already say better, right?
Yep.
Like, the two of them, you could see it, right? Like they're the embodiment of Tokido saying, "This is fighting games."
Fighting games is something so great.
Something so great.
There's one more interesting element that comes in for Uppercat and Emoto, and that's that once the match was announced, we had the Jam Chord as well as Eno Boys get in their respective corners and be like, all right, so here's what you got to do. Right. So when Grace says, "Oh, we've been working on a lot of new tech," like that shit is real. I've gotten to see that happen. Oh my God, it's been so much fun. All right, next up we got this match is also near and dear to my heart because we got the Pogi Boy team kill. Right.
Your teammates. Yeah.
Yeah. Actual cousins playing each other. Simo versus CB Hash Oil.
Simo versus CB Hash Oil.
Yeah. I looked up the tournament results here, and again, and it was actually closer than I thought. I know Simo said that CB Hash Oil tends to win these more often than not, but I think it's 2-3 in bracket.
Yeah, I think it's close to dead even. Yeah. And they're like 2-1 too, like each time.
To be honest.
Yeah, and look, Milia and Elfelt, like those games can go either way, right?
Yeah.
It is also this is the kind of matchup where it's like you might play against each other, but you might not always lab for each other, right? That is a different level of commitment when it comes to when it comes to taking games or taking sets off of people who when they're the homies, right?
Yeah.
So while CB Hash Oil has the advantage, and Simo's in chat here saying, I think Jules has a slight edge over me, but Millia can steal games in tourney. Like, that's not Millia stealing games in tournament. This is Guilty Gear, right? Both those characters are able to just take around and fucking run with it. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're thieves, like you're a good Guilty Gear character because you steal from your opponent, right? Like that's the difference between like someone who's just getting used to the game and somebody who you could tell has played a while, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, you left me that little bit. All right, thank you. You mean our mix up, right? Our win. Like this one is like I think so. I think for Simo, I think part of he might say like it's probably slightly Giuliano favor because I know like Giuliano like Richard loves saying like Adav loves saying this guy's got ridiculous reactions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that kind of hurts Milia a little bit, right? Because if you block Milia and like the onslaught's over, your Elfeld, you're gonna blow her up, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna kill her.
Yeah.
You touch her, she's dead, right? And that's kind of the character matchup, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the player matchup, it's like, right, this family, right? Like you know each other, you play each other, you know each other's habits, right? Like I don't ever like think that I think they're both prepared for each other's version of the character, not necessarily
Right.
like the character, and that's totally fine, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what we want to see.
Yeah.
And this one, I think this one is character wise, you could say this could be a 3-0 either way, right? But I think it's gonna be 3-2 no matter what, right?
I'm certainly hoping for a 3-2 here. But like here's the thing, right? So every other match that we've brought up so far has been like, oh, this close homies. Oh, you've known each other forever. Maybe you used to be coworkers, you used to be peers, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is actual family. When you're playing as actual family, like you play this show match, whoever wins gets to make you hold that shit every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every wedding, every fucking like every family get together. Whoever wins gonna be like, I remember that time when we played Guilty Gear and I beat your ass in front of 200 people.
I heard that like Giuliano and like Simo will play like at family events. Like, so one of them is like, nah, next time, nah, man. Like in the Exerd revival one, we're doing this again.
And then speaking of family, I know this last one, the main event is a tag-in classic, but I just had to have this match because I've never actually gotten a chance to see it live for myself, right? Yeah. So we got Nuclear Papaya versus Takanashi, aka Take Hennessy, aka Take the Hennessy, NorCal #1 Best Venom, right? The two are brothers, and I know that Wilton has said, look, like you can only do so much against your big brother, right? Bondren's the big brother here. Look, and their tournament record is 4-7, right? So not free by any stretch of the imagination, right? But Bondren definitely has the advantage here.
Yeah. So like these two very good friends. I used to live with Nuclear Papaya. He's one of the reasons why I'm even playing Guilty Gear. But I remember these two guys would like grind every game. I've seen these guys play in multiple games across SF4, KOF.
Yeah, some KOF.
Year. I remember like the saltiest I've ever seen either of these people. Like actually like they're like fuck you is when they're playing each other, right? Like I remember I was learning this game and I was like, dude, I told Wilton, I was like, I got my ass whooped by Bondra, and he's like, he's a bully. He plays bully tactics, right? And these are brothers, right? Like, they love each other, right? But he's just like, he's a bully. Like, that's just the kind of person he is. Like, they'll be in person, like, I can't believe you did that. But, like every tag in, you'll just see him mad as hell. Like, you're like, oh, like, I hate this stupid, I hate you, man. Like, good games. Like, and this one's gonna be interesting because like I know, like you never really see Venom versus like Ram, but Bondren hates that freaking character because he hates the thing is Wilton's well known for playing the weird characters, right? And actually, this is a little bit I don't know if he's gonna do it, but he said he might show his entire showcase of characters.
Ooh.
Which is 3 characters. Yeah, he said he might. So Wilton is the reason why Bondren's been ready for the following 3 characters. He's been ready to fight Ramethal. He's been ready to fight Eno. He's been ready a little bit to fight Badman.
Badman, yeah.
Wilton.
Yeah. So like one of my favorite things about Wilton is like while you may know him as like the local Ram, right? He doesn't often compete these days, but when he does, it's always a pleasure to have him in bracket. He's a super cool guy, but he's also the best practice partner you can find in NorCal.
Absolutely.
Because he knows the weird shit. He knows even the characters he doesn't play, he knows a lot about, but like if you want that practice, the bedman practice, the ram practice, he's so good at helping you practice up, right? When Cam was preparing for the show match against GC Yoshi last month, he went to Wilton because that's the only other bedman that we knew about.
Yep.
So
that's true too. I'll be like, dude, I don't know what I'm supposed to do this. Like, okay, so here's a story. I've told this a million times, but like we used to live together, and I would go to sleep, and I'm like, all right, night, Wilton. He's like, all right, man. And I hear click, click, click. He's just going at the stick. I'd wake up the next morning, and he's about to go to sleep. He'd been grinding Dr. Doom combos the entire night, and he did. And that wasn't one night. That was like every weekend, right? Like Wilton's like execution is like ridiculous because of that. So like whenever you have a problem, like, dude, I don't understand what this is. It's like, oh, it's like a 2-frame gap here. This is what it looks like, right? Oh, that's not an actual link. It's it's this. It's like he'll explain to you everything. Like you'll be like, here's a video of what I want to do. Explain to me how I'm supposed to do this. Like, okay, here we go.
Yep.
Give me a second. Less than 5 minutes later, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. It's kind of tight, man. Like maybe try this. Like, and he'll never have picked up that character in his entire life, and he's already figured out that stupid combo you were trying to do for hours on end, right?
Yeah.
And, like that's and that's the kind of dedication, right, to the game, but the dedication to beat your brother, to beat your older brother. That's another level, like sometimes. I think this one is another one that could go like 3-2, but it could easily go 3-0 because one of them just was like, nah.
Yep.
nah.
And like,
I got you today.
And like it's no secret that some of what goes into the booking here is like me seeing people and being like, yeah, I think if we gave you a reason to play Guilty Gear more, you'd probably play Guilty Gear more, right? Bondurant has been great at preparing for his Caliburst matches so far, right? He edged out CT Warrior. He almost took it over Wabbit last time, right? Like his show match history has been really, really solid. He's always putting on a good show. I also see this motherfucker playing Europa Universalis 4 a lot, and that's cool. But I wonder, and I see you in chat, I wonder how motivated you are to make sure that your little brother never speaks up about this shit, right? You can't let him do that. So yeah. We got an amazing fucking card. I'm gonna go ahead and roll the trailer one more time.
Yeah.
But remember, for the folks who are just tuning in, if you are on this card and you liked what we did with the trailer, get together with your opponent and send me videos of you answering 3 questions, right? Who do you think the stronger player is between the two of you? What does this match mean to you, and why do you want to win? You give me video of you two answering those questions, and I'll cut it up into something that we can use. That's what's up. Obviously, Irene and Grace are great for this kind of thing, but I think that any of y'all can do this. So you wanna have your moment to be in the fucking like the UFC promo video, WWE promo video. You let me know. You send me the stuff I need before look. You got to get it in by Friday, right? I'm not doing this shit day of. So you get it to me like Friday morning at the latest. I'll see what I can do. That's what's up, Aaron. Thank you so much for coming through. I'll see you at Wednesday Night Fights, homie.
Yeah, we'll see you Wednesday, man.
Peace
Can't wait. Peace out.
All right, we're gonna run that trailer back one more time because it was dope as fuck. Thank you, Raul Man, for posting the link, and then we're gonna play some.